Hey guys, I'm Cary Shin. I'm from America and I'm 21 years old. I'm a fourth year here at Meiji University. I originally came to Japan after graduating high school. So I came here around August of 2018. So this is around almost 3 years now in Japan. So there were a couple factors for that actually. I think the biggest factor was the price because I was originally supposed to go to a school in New York, but then the price and like the cost of living and the tuition was out of demand for me and my family. So I decided to come here because in Japan there's also a scholarship that was awarded for international students. So that also helped my family a lot. And I guess I also wanted to try a new experience because I've never been to a foreign country besides Korea because I'm Korean. I've been to Korea a couple times, but besides that, I've never been to a country besides America and Korea. So it was a really, really big opportunity, not just for my education, but also to learn about other cultures that I have not experienced before. So that's another factor. I'd say my first year and then a little bit my second year were probably like the hardest times in terms of like my life. I think during my first year, it just became super, super hard to get along with people, especially because I didn't know any Japanese. I didn't take any Japanese courses before that. And I think from that experience, that first year, it taught me a lot of hard life lessons, especially because like life isn't gonna go the way you want it to, right? And then you have to like endure it and you have to go through this rough patch. So I would just devote all of my time to studying Japanese, all my other classes the first year, my first 2 years. And it just became like super, it became super monotone. Like it felt like such a one-dimensional lifestyle of like waking up, focus on Japanese study class, focus on your other classes, and then go to sleep, right? Like there wasn't really much diversity in my life back then. I think if in the bigger picture, I think it was a good change for me because at the end of the day, I was immature in high school, right? I was like an extroverted, like dumb kid, right? Yeah, that did like stupid things with like people, right? So I think if I stayed in that kind of environment, I don't think I would have matured as a person at all. And I probably would still be like doing dumb things with like just with a different group of people, right? I think this experience kind of taught me to like how to grow up as a person. It taught me to become more of like an adult rather than a teenager, if that makes sense. And I think for the long run, it's a better change. Yeah. So the seminar I joined was the Mazemi, which was a focus on a very broad spectrum of many different types of art styles. So it could be like painting, drawing, filmmaking, for example. Like ikebana is another example. Like any type of like traditional art or like any like formal art style that's recognized is like something that you can partake in that seminar. And then the reason why it was so impactful to me was because it was the first class I took ever in Meiji that really, really was like the type of class that I wanted to take part of. It felt like I was actually like being engaged with both the students and the teacher. I got along with both of them super well. And it felt like for the first time, even if I didn't really know the Japanese language, I could still get along with them because we had that common interest. And that's something that I kind of struggled to find. It was hard to relate with during my first 2 years because I didn't know what my common interests were. And I think that class really, it was super beneficial for me because not only was it an English-focused class, so it was already much easier for me to like get along with people. It was just the environment was so friendly, and all the people there were like, they were super motivated to do well. We all had like the same kind of passions and goals, and then the teacher just sort of reinforced the idea to like help everyone achieve what they wanted to do. So the type of things we focused on in the seminar was we each chose like, I wouldn't say famous, but like pretty well-known member of the media arts community in Japan. And then we would interview them about certain aspects of like their life and like certain like what they do for a living. And then when I had the opportunity, I didn't want it restricted to just media arts focused. Rather, I wanted to like expand on the personal side of them instead of like their work-focused areas, because I feel like I would learn more from their personal areas rather than their work-focused area, because it's a side you can relate to. You can't really relate to a person with like, oh, they achieved this award, they have like the highest movie ratings or whatever it is. Like their movies are super famous. Like no one can relate to that, except like a very few minority. But you can relate to a person's personal side, which is why I ask more questions based on that. And I feel like that experience taught me a lot about life. I wanted to interview someone that obviously was able to speak English, and someone that kind of like I can kind of like relate to on a personal level rather than on a media arts level. And then I was like doing my research, and then I found Takashi Makino, who said he traveled a lot outside of Japan, and then he was also going through a lot of personal struggles as well, and I kind of wanted to ask him about that. And then that's how it became my first choice interview. I think the biggest thing that taught me was I was not alone in those type of problems that I was going through, because like I felt like I was by myself during those first 2 years, right? But when I was talking to Makino-san, he told me that like there's a lot of people that are going through stuff like you're doing, not just in Japan, not just like it could be any type of country, in any type of scenario, in any type of like work environment. It doesn't have to be in college. It could be in the work environment as well. It could be just like in general. He told me his stories, and I told him that like, okay, I'm going through like a lot of similar things as you are, and then like what I should do, what should I do, and then like he just kind of like gave me a lot of motivating words and like a lot of compassion and sympathy for me, and then I feel like that kind of like really helped me grow as a person, and then really like believe that staying in Japan for 4 years for college is not gonna be that hard compared to like what other people have to go through. So that's really what taught me as the biggest impact, I think. The first thing you need to do is you have to embrace your hardships first. If you know what the 5 stages of grief are, right? It's denial, and then anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. And then those are like the 5 stages that everyone goes through when they're going through like a tough time. But instead of like trying to deny or like ignore your problems, it's better to just embrace them directly, because eventually you'll accept them anyways, because that's the 5th stage. That's the last stage of the grief cycle. I feel like the second thing is you gotta talk to the people that will emotionally support you, and think a lot more optimistically, even if it's difficult. And then the first is just obviously embracing them, embracing your hardships, and trying to learn from them and find passion and like try to find that real passion in what you're interested in.